Hello everyone, this is the Frugal Engineer. Welcome to this Arduino tutorial. In this video I will be showing you how to use the TFT display ST7735R. Just keep in mind this is the R model, because the non-R models they have a different pin input. However, we can use the standard libraries with no issue. We'll see that in the next part of the video. In my channel you can find a tutorial I made some time ago about using an LCD screen. It is a really cool tutorial where I demo how to render CPU and RAM usage in an LCD. I use a Caesar program to send information to the Arduino. You can find the link to the tutorial in the description below. However, that type of LCD screens might be a little bit too simple and it's hard to display more information for more complex projects. That's the reason behind this TFT display tutorial. Using this display will allow me to work on more advanced projects in the future. I'm already working on a lot of new ideas. Please subscribe to my channel so you won't miss any of my future videos. Let's review now the list of materials that we will need for this project. We will need 8 cables, 5 1K ohm resistors, one 100 ohm resistor. However, I didn't have that type of resistor, so I used a 220 ohms and it worked just fine. The TFT screen, I will leave the link to that screen in the description below, the breadboard to connect all the components and the Arduino board. This screen is quite inexpensive, I'm sure you will be able to find it on eBay around 7 to 10 pounds. Let's review the mapping between the pins of the TFT screen to the Arduino board. You will find all of this information on the description of the video below, just follow the link to the Google Doc document. The only thing that you really need to take in mind is to not forget to use the resistors. If you don't use them, the screen won't work. I don't think the screen will break because probably the screen will protect itself and not work, but just keep in mind you will need to use the resistors. For the BL, the backlight, again is recommended by the documentation to use a 100 ohm resistor. However, I didn't have any of those type of resistors, so I use a 220 ohm resistor and it worked fine. Again, you will find this diagram on the description below. There are two main libraries we can implement in the Arduino IDE to use the display: the Adafruit and the Universal UC Color Graphics Library, or UCG-lib. I have to confess that I haven't worked with both libraries enough time to be able to choose between the two of them, but I saw that the UCG-lib has more fonts available and it's easier to control which part of the screen we want to refresh. This helps to avoid flickering, so I might use the UCG-lib in my next projects. In this video, we will see a demo of those two libraries. First, I want to show you how to install both libraries. We just need to go to the Tools menu and select the Manage Libraries. We will see a dialog where we can search for the Adafruit and the UCG-lib and install them. After installing the libraries, we will be able to use them in our code. But I would recommend running the examples that come with the library once you install them. To go to the examples, search for the Adafruit and the ST7735 and select Graphic Test, and the same for the UCG-lib example. Just search for it in the menu and Graphic Test. Let's execute the Adafruit example. I won't get into much detail on the code, my recommendation will be to execute the code and start testing it. By the way, you will see a demo of this code in the corner of this video. This example code contains several functions that are really useful to show the library capabilities. The program also has a large number of comments that explains how the code works. The only thing that you will need to take in mind before executing the code is to ensure that the correct pins have been defined when you initiate the program. So here, this is the one that we are using. Also important that we need this sentence here. This is the screen that we will be using as well. And then we initialize our TFT screen using this sentence. The rest of the program, as I said, it has all the different comments that will be useful for us. So just copy paste the code, execute, you can then remove parts that you don't want and test it. That will be my recommendation to learn how to use this program. Okay, so now it's the turn for the UCG library. This is really similar to the Fruit in the terms that it has some functions and some examples that will be really useful to test the capabilities of the TFT display. The only thing that we need to take in mind again is to use the correct constructor. In this case it has a lot of compatible type of screens. The one that we will be using today of course is the ST7735. It's also compatible with the Air model we are using. Just check that we are using the correct pin configuration. Again, I will leave this code in the description below, so you have only to copy paste. Then it has some definition here and again some functions that you can use. My recommendation as well as the other Fruit library is that you can just copy paste, use some functions on your own code and see how it looks. For example, you can learn if you want to look for specific fonts or how to work with the to write text, different ways you can do it. There is a function here that you can use if you want. Again, my recommendation, copy paste this and use it on your own projects. Okay, so before we finish, I just want to show you the really simple example that I have done using this library. Basically what I'm doing is in the loop function just setting a solid color as background, then calling this function, and then this function what it does, it writes this string, the Frugal Engineer, on the screen. Really simple. What I did, just copy paste the code and remove the parts that I didn't want. This is teaching me how to use this library. Well, this was all I wanted to show you. I hope you liked this tutorial. This cheap display opens the door to work on a lot of cool and interesting projects. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. I just started YouTube and it will be a really good motivation to continue. Thank you so much, until the next video.